Hello guys, good evening and I welcome you to my another live video on very interesting but little complicated topic that you guys find it, though I tried to make it super simple for you, right? So like my other videos that you have always liked, I hope you will like this one as well. Okay, so let's get started, and it is all about diversity in living organisms. And hold on just a second. So we'll talk about diversity in living organisms, but because it's a quite vast topic, so we'll just not talk about like everything that falls under diversity and classification. We'll basically today cover diversity in living organisms, and we will cover plants. All right, so I see many people are joining in for this live session. I welcome you guys to this live session of diversity in living organisms, especially plants that we will discuss. Okay, so quickly, this is basically for grade 9. This is your chapter 7 of your book, and my name is Dr. Pooja, and let me tell you a little bit more about me. So guys, very good evening, Shovan. How are you? I hope you are doing just awesome. Welcome to this session, and you can also have your other friends who might take benefit of joining this class, because I see many people, they find it a little complicated to remember all the different classifications that we do for plants and for animals and for all those things. Okay, so have your friends join in, though I sent the message in Telegram. And guys, I will also share my Telegram ID. If any of you have any kind of question, even after this video, if you would like to reach out to me, I have this Telegram group for my students on Unacademy, so you guys can also join in and take benefit of it. All right, so my name is Dr. Pooja. I was a scientist in the United States of America for 8 years, and then I came back to India, and here I started teaching science on Unacademy's platform. So if you would like to go ahead and sign up and would like to learn more about science, not just biology, but chemistry, physics, and biology on Unacademy's platform, here is my discount code PS13 that you can use, and you can get extra 10% off of your yearly subscription. All right, so let's quickly talk about like what do we do on Unacademy. As I said, it is India's largest learning platform, where we have educators from all over India. They are the best educators, and you will have live sessions with them. Okay, and you will also not just get the syllabus to be covered, but you will get many practice sessions. We help you in live practice sessions, weekly courses are there, so it is like really going to helpful for you guys. So even in my today's chapter, because I believe in having lots and lots of quiz and lots and lots of practice questions, so that you can evaluate yourself. All right, so quickly, because as long as you guys are joining in, I'll just cover all these basic items. So as I said, why Unacademy? Because you don't have to go anywhere, right? So from the comfort of your home, just staying at home, you will just log in. You need internet and you need a device to study from us. Okay, and then you will have, yes, many questions that I get from you students, like, ma'am, what if we miss the lecture? So don't worry, all the notes that we prepare, because we put in extra time to get excellent notes for you guys. So you have uncontrolled access, like unlimited access to all the notes. Okay, so top educators, they create those notes for you, and we cover not only the syllabus. Hello Anshu, how are you? Welcome to this session. So we are covering plants, diversity in plants. The classification we'll be doing for plants today. All right, so we have we cover your syllabus. All my plus students, they already know like what is my style of working. I cover the syllabus, I cover the chapter in first 4 days, and on Friday and Saturday we do only quiz and only revision. Okay, so we have regular doubt clearing sessions, live test series, and all those things. And how to join Unacademy? Many of you must be thinking, just go to their website, unacademy.com, or you can also, download the app where you can subscribe for either 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. But I would strongly recommend you to go for this 12 months package. A reason being because it is not just you get one educator, you get science, mathematics, English, and all other important subjects just at the cost of 1,000 rupees a month, right? And I guess this is not a deal, it's a like steal. Okay, so go for it. And with all this said, let's get started with today's topic. What is classification and evolution, hierarchy of classification? I know these terms, they look very difficult and complicated, but I will try my best, guys, to make them super easy for you. Okay, so we all know, like if we go to the grocery shop, or if we go to the another mall, or garment shop, so what we see, everything they have very well arranged in the different racks, so that we go there and we pick the stuff of our choice, whatever we need. Imagine you go to the grocery store and everything is just piled up, like soaps and shampoos and cereals and pens, pencils, vegetables, fruit, butter, ice cream. So can you imagine what will happen in that case? You will get lost. I mean, you will not be able to find what exactly you need. So that is why in all these shops, what they have done, they have classified things as per their unique characteristics. Okay, for example, all the eating material, like say all the cold items, for example, butter and cold drinks and juices and ice creams, they're all very well arranged in the refrigerator or freezers, right? Vegetables, they have their own section. Fruits, they have their own section. Similarly, if you go to the soap area, shampoos area, they all have their own sections. And even in that section, they have subgroups, right? For example, you have different toilet soaps, you have different soaps for the dishes, you have different soaps for the laundry or your clothes to be washed. So that is called classification. To make our life easy, we have classified things not just only at the stores, but even at our homes, even at the schools. They have classified you in different classes. Even the countries, even the states, everything is classified. Everything is very well organized so that it can function properly. Okay, so that is how, and that is why the classification was done in case of all the living organisms. Okay, so first of all, the classification is non-living and living organisms. So we know non-living organisms, they don't divide, they don't reproduce, they don't move, they don't need food and other things. Hello Nishant, very good evening, welcome to my class. So we are talking about diversity in plants, and I'm trying to make you guys understand what exactly is classification and what is the need of classification. Okay, so we are covering all these topics, and particularly today we'll be talking about classification in case of plants. All right, so I'm talking about classification, and I'll move on to like evolution and classification. So that is I just covered the point, like where we have everything classified depending upon their characteristics, so that it's easy for us to Kanika. Oh, okay. I just see your name as Nishant Singh, so I thought you are a new student. Anyways, so that is why the classification is important for everything to function properly. So now I was saying, like, we have non-living and living organisms. We have classified them in non-living and living. And within living, we have all these different classes: Monera, Protista, fungi, plant and animals. So I will in my next slide go over how we divide everything into these 5 major classes. But first of all, let's understand why do we have this classification at first place. Okay, so over the period of evolution, we all know like the life started. Oh, thank you, Kanika. So let's focus on a little bit of the studies as well. All right. So as we were talking, like a classification is, it started from evolution, right? When the life came into existence, from that day onwards, the living organisms, they started making adjustments, they started making certain advancements over the period of time. Okay, so that process in a very simple terms is called evolution. Okay, from the simplest to the very complex over the period of time, by natural selection and so many other things, many different kind of organisms, they evolved, right? So it was a very okay, ma'am, this is first lecture of the chapter. Kanika, actually this is our live session on YouTube. So I teach on Unacademy's platform if you really want to be part of that, plus courses, because I cover physics, chemistry and biology there on Unacademy. So you can go there and you can sign up and you will learn everything directly from me. Okay, so if you can, I have already shared my Telegram link as well. If you have more questions, you can ask me there, like how to be part of Unacademy's classes, because it is just 1,000 rupees per month, lower than that if you use my code PS13, and you can get access to physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, English, all other subjects. Okay, so it's kind of a home tuition. You're not going anywhere and you're learning from top educators. Okay, so yes, so it made the job of the scientist very difficult, like when over the period of time so many living organisms, they were evolving, right? So some of them, they made very complex advancements, some of them like very primitive, but remember, when the things were evolving, it never led to the extinction of the previous species. It was just advancement or getting hello Akib Gems, hello, welcome to my session. So what I was saying is, like over the period of time, so new species, they came into existence and old species were also there. So it was very difficult for scientists to understand why there are so many species, why there are different classes. So what they did, they started putting all the living organisms into classes. Okay, depending upon certain characteristics of all the living organisms. Okay, so depending when they chose certain characteristics, and then from on the basis of those characteristics, they started classifying things. Okay, so they came up with this 5 classes: Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and animalia. All right, so but today we will mainly focus on plants, but definitely I'll touch base on Monera, Protista, fungus and animals as well, a little bit of it, but I would love to take extra sessions on these. Okay, so I just gave you a very rough idea like how these things came into existence. I know this when I was a child, all this classification, hierarchy, evolution, speciation, these terms looked very let's say complicated or difficult to me. But as you understand the things from their base, from their root, it becomes very easy, guys. So that is why my whole focus is to make sure you understand things. You don't just cram the things, okay? Like there are 5 classes, Monera, Protista, fungi. I mean, you need to understand why there are 5 classes, okay? And why everything got divided into these 5 classes only. Okay, so that was the the whole idea of my discussion on classification and evolution and why these classes were made. All clear to you? Whosoever is watching this live session, everything clear to you guys? So the hierarchy of the organism. So what is hierarchy? What do we call hierarchy? Hierarchy is how the things are arranged from the lower level to the higher level, or from lower level to the higher level. Okay, so for example, so we have organisms. We divided, the scientists, they divided them broadly into two main categories. Okay, for example, they said prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So which one do you think is the primitive one, guys? Prokaryotes or eukaryotes? Which one is the older version? Which one is the basic version among these two, among prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Tell me. So hello Shubham, how are you? So today we are talking about the classification in plants, and I just came to this flow diagram kind of a thing so that we can understand how the and today we are talking about only plants. Okay, so this is the diagram to understand how the plants, they are classified. Okay, I have not received any answer from you guys. So prokaryotes means original, the primitive ones. Okay, so these are the organisms. When scientists, they started classifying the organisms, the first characteristics they picked was how the DNA or how the genetic material of that particular organism is. Okay, that is the first point they considered. Another point they considered was what are the cell organelles which are present in the cell. Okay, so depending upon these few, yeah, you're right, Nishant. I'm sorry, Kanika. So these were the few characteristics that led them to divide broadly everything into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So prokaryotes are the primitive one. Yes, you're right, Kanika. So the primitive ones, they have the cell boundaries. Okay, they have nucleus, but it was not a well-defined nucleus. The genetic material or the DNA was just as an entangled mass. Entangled means it was like when you have your coils, they just get jumbled up. So they have the entangled mass of this nuclear material, and there were no cell organelles, like no membrane bound organelles in prokaryotes. For example, no mitochondria, no Golgi apparatus, no nuclear membrane. So DNA was just lying as a nucleoid in the cytoplasm. Okay, so scientists, they divided them into prokaryotes with all these features and eukaryotes. So prokaryotes, they have Kanika, they have basically the genetic material, which is like, let's say, DNA, and it is not bound by the nuclear membrane. Okay, it is just lying in the cell. Second, it has cytoplasm. Prokaryotes, they have cytoplasm, but they don't have mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, or any other, for example, endoplasmic reticulum. They do have ribosomes. They were just lying around in the cytoplasm. So prokaryotes were very primitive, very, as you said, pre-existing and older version of the living organisms. All right. Then we have eukaryotes. So eukaryotes, they are totally opposite to prokaryotes. Eukaryotes have a well-defined nucleus with the nuclear membrane, with the pores, no lysosomes either, right? So though lysosomes are, because they don't have endoplasmic reticulum and vesicles and all those things, ribosomes were present in prokaryotes. All right. So in eukaryotes, we have everything. We have mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, a well-defined nucleus. So, but apart from the prokaryotes, the bacteria and all, everything, these are like called monera. Okay, kingdom Monera. So rest all was classified under classified under eukaryotes. All right, so now we have eukaryotes, and they have unicellular and multicellular. Okay, so now in plasma membrane, yes, they do have plasma membrane, and they also had cell wall as well, and cilia or flagella, just for the moment part. Then eukaryotes, rest all was divided under these things, unicellular under eukaryotes, and eukaryotes are also either unicellular or multicellular. Uni means one, multi means many, cellular is cell. So unicellular are the organisms which are eukaryotes but which are made up of only one cell. Okay, and multicellular organisms, apart from kingdom Protista, everything fell under multicellular organisms. And now multicellular organisms, forget about Protista and Monera, they are the very simpler original forms. Let's focus on multicellular organisms. So the multicellular organisms without cell wall, we know animal cells, they have similar organelles and everything as plant cells they have, but animal cells don't have cell wall. Always remember that. So we don't have cell wall. So even among the multicellular organisms, the one which do not, all the protozoans are there, paramecium, amoeba, all these things, they fall under unicellular organisms, right? So then we have under multicellular, as I said, without wall is like all the animals, and with cell wall we get further divided into two categories. One is which do not perform photosynthesis, which means which are not autotrophic, they are heterotrophic, they need their food from outside sources. So we have fungus in this category. And now here comes our topic of today's discussion, the multicellular eukaryotic organisms which were able to, for sure, I'm gonna do that. So that will be, I have another class on animal kingdom, so I will be covering that in my next YouTube session. Okay, don't worry, I'll be covering that. And you guys can always save my notes, and you can come back and watch these videos. But I mean, if you are a plus student, well, good. I mean, if you are not a plus student, then you can register yourself on Unacademy, because that is the best thing that you can do to yourself. I'm not just saying for the sake of saying it, but I've seen like my students, they are really getting benefit out of it, because for 1,000 rupees a month, that is not even the tuition fee for one subject, and you are getting multiple subjects under plus registration. Okay, just 1,000 rupees a month. All right, so now we came down to kingdom Plantae. All right, so why now, if we want to describe like what are the characteristics, then we'll have to go back up in this hierarchy. So what we will say, plants are eukaryotic multicellular organisms with cell wall, and they are able to produce their own food. See how beautifully we characterized, or we covered all the characteristics of the plants. So once you remember this flow diagram, you can define any of the 5 classes. Okay, so one more time. So if you want to define plants, plants are the living, of course we are talking about living organisms. Plants are the multicellular eukaryotes with cell wall, and they are autotrophs, or they are able to make their own food. So that is what we call plants. And if you want to, let's say, define animals in the similar way, or let's say you want to define fungi in the similar way, you can do that. For example, animals. So animals are the multicellular eukaryotes without cell wall and they are not able to produce or make their own food. They are heterotrophs. Okay, so this is how you make your own definitions. That is what I tell my students on my plus courses. Guys, never ever cram these definitions. You just remember some flowchart kind of a thing or a diagram, and then you create your own definitions, because once you create your own definitions, you don't forget them in the exams. Okay, here you go. So now 5 groups are formed on the basis of their cell structure, their mode of nutrition, and their body organization. We call them Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. That is what I have just described. Okay, so let's move on to plants. Okay, so that is our today's topic of discussion, kingdom plantae. So as I just created the definition in front of you from that flow chart, let's see what this particular slide says. These are the multicellular, we know that, eukaryotes with cell wall, and they are autotrophs and use chlorophyll for photosynthesis. So that is what we have just covered in our own definition from that particular flow chart that I just showed you. Okay, so that's all the plants, they are included in this group. So far, is it easy for you guys to understand this thing? So far, whatever I've just explained, were you able to grasp it? Were you able to understand what I just discussed? Shovan, Kanika, Anshu, whoever is there watching me live. So if that is correct, we'll move on to the next slide. So now, even in plants, we divided or we classified them into different classes, let's say. Okay, so, okay, great. Depending upon what? Again, every time we classify something, we have to consider or we have to have certain points in our mind on the basis of which we are classifying. Okay, so those are called characteristics or classification criteria, or the features on we are considering to classify certain organisms. So we have the classification criteria that we have here is differentiation of the plant body. So from there, what we understand is how the plant body, because we are talking about plants now. So first criteria that we have is how is the plant body, how differentiated it is. Is it like very simple, or is it like complex, divided into leaves and roots and stem and all other things? So that is called differentiation. Making different parts of the plant body is called differentiation. Okay, then we have a special tissue for the transportation. As we know, plants, they live on water and minerals, and they make their own food, and then we have different systems in the plant, different tissue in the plant, xylem and phloem, to take food and water from one part of the plant body to another part. So next criteria would be, are these plants or classes that we have in, do they have special tissue for transportation or no? That will be the next classification criteria. Third would be seed bearing characters. Do these plants, they bear seeds? I mean, they produce seeds or not? And if they produce seeds, whether the seeds are enclosed in a fruit, do they make fruit as well, or it is not, the seeds are not enclosed in the fruit? And the next is number of cotyledons. So these are the 5 characteristics on the basis of which we will divide all the plants into how many classes? How many classes are there in case of plants, guys? Answer me. Can you answer me? How many classes are there? Depending upon all these characteristic features on the basis of which we classify plants. Do you know? How many are there? Shovan, Kanika, anybody? Here you go. Okay, so how are we going to divide them? Again, remember this flowchart, guys. As I said, flowcharts are very important to remember the things, and from the flowcharts you can just construct the whole chapter. Okay, so plants, we have two categories, two major categories. One, and you will have to remember one thing, guys. I'm going to tell you a secret. Every time we move on to the next class, okay, when we classify these plants, every time we move on to the next class, one feature from this list will be added to it. Okay, so how? I will show you in a minute. One feature from this list will be added. Okay, so that is for you to remember. So differentiation of the body, special tissue for the transportation, seed bearing characters, whether the seed is enclosed in fruit or not, and then number of cotyledons. Okay, so depending on these 5 characteristics, we'll be dividing plants into different classes. And again, from every time we add in new class, we will have a characteristic from this one. So how do we do that? Let's do it. Here you go. So we have plants not differentiated body with differentiated body. Okay, so the one with no differentiated body, we have thallophytes. Now all the others would be under differentiated plant body. What do we have? I know you know all this: thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes, then we have gymnosperms and angiosperms. These are the 5 categories that we divide the plants into. Okay, so thallophytes, first of all, non-differentiated body, thallophytes, and all others are under differentiated plant body. Differentiated means they have roots and leaves and stem, all different structures. Okay, then under differentiated we have again 2 categories. One is bryophytes, and then bryophytes, they do not have well developed vascular tissue. Vascular tissue means xylem and phloem, and all others, they have well developed vascular tissue. So that is how you will remember this flow chart. Okay, now from all others which have the vascular tissue, pteridophytes, they, Yash, Radhe Radhe, Pranam Yash. So yes, then we have pteridophytes. Pteridophytes, they do not produce seeds. These all will produce seeds, guys. All right, so from the ones which produce seeds, again we have gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms, they don't make fruit. Angiosperms, they make fruit. And angiosperms we divide into dicots, and I don't remember, Yash, can you please remind me real quick? And we have monocots. Okay, so this is how Jite raho bacche. You are so funny. So this is how we classify all the plants into 5 categories, and as I said, with a new category, a new characteristic will be added from the list that I have just showed you. Okay, differentiation, vascular bundles, okay, then seed bearing quality, then with fruit, then with the without fruit, then with fruit. All right, so let's go over these. कोई बात नहीं, कर लो यश, it's okay, you can do it. Now I'm teaching you guys science, and I really teach very amazing concepts. I know I'm praising myself, but I'm confident because the way I teach is awesome. So you guys will have to renew your subscription, okay, because it's super easy to learn online. So here we go. Oh, thank you, Kanika. So we have classification. You will just love my classes. If you come to my classes, you're gonna love it, because we do too much fun in my classes and we learn like that. Okay, so we have thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes, angiosperms, gymnosperms, and as I said, with every new class we have a new characteristics. Okay, quickly, this one, undifferentiated body. These all have differentiated body. Now this one does not have vascular bundles. These all have vascular bundles. This one does not have seed bearing quality. I mean these three, of course. These next ones have seed bearing quality. Then angiosperms, I switched them. Gymnosperms, they don't have fruit to protect the seed, but angiosperms, they make fruit, and angiosperms, they get divided into further dicots and monocots. Okay, Gargi Academy. Only to the second speed of net never take class. Yes, you need to make a smart decision there. I mean, do you want to spend a little bit more money on the internet to get a better quality of internet, or you want to spend like hell lot of money just paying it to the like tutors every month? Because here on Unacademy you will be getting like in 1,000 or so per month you will be paying, and you will be covering all the subjects, okay, which covers your science, mathematics, English and all other things. But that is not possible when you take like local tuitions. All right, nothing against anybody, but I'm just trying to make my point clear. Then we got thallophytes. So guys, as I quickly walked you through like what are the main characteristics. So the first characteristic is no well-defined differentiated body design. So thallophytes are the very basic ones. They don't have their body differentiated into, let's say, leaves or root or stem or all those parts. They have undifferentiated body. So what is undifferentiated body? It's just mass of a couple of cells, and they are just lying together, and they are making their food, and they are just living. Okay, so they are mostly aquatic. Why? Because they don't have any particular parts. They don't have roots, they don't have leaves, nothing is present. So where would they get their requirements from if they are living in water? Okay, and their best example is algae. So algae is green in color, it has chlorophyll. Of course, all the plant categories that we will be talking about, they are all autotrophs. Okay, so thallophytes are the very basic I would say plant structures. They don't have a differentiated body. They are just a couple of cells coming together and make these plant types. So they are mostly aquatic, means they live in water, and the best example is algae. And there are different examples: Eulothrix, Cladophora, Ulva, and Spirogyra. So guys, you will have to remember while attempting a question, you will have to remember what you are talking about. Okay, for example, we are talking about thallophytes. What are the main characteristics of thallophytes? That you will have to remember. Second, what are the examples of thallophytes? And third, if you can draw a very rough diagram. Okay, so in this case, just draw a Spirogyra diagram and you'll be fine. So that is my style of teaching. Like when you are attempting a question, make sure the question has all the important ingredients. The answer has all the important ingredients. It has all the paths. Let's say it should have a well-defined definition, characteristics, example, and diagram. Okay, so this is all about thallophytes. So this is another picture for Spirogyra. So do you see, these are so undifferentiated cells. They are just these spirals made up of, and green in color because it has to produce their own food. Okay, so this is the simplest example. Then we'll go on to bryophytes. So bryophytes is the next category, and what would they have new in them? Differentiation. Okay, thallophytes, they didn't have any differentiation. Bryophytes, they will have differentiation, but they will not have vascular bundles. They will not have any other characteristics, those 5 points that we discussed in our previous slides. Okay, yes, so they please ask and I'll answer you. So the plant body is commonly differentiated to form stem and leaf-like structures. So bryophytes, they are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Why? Because once we move forward, we'll get to know like bryophytes, they don't have well-defined vascular bundles. Okay, so they only have differentiated body as compared to thallophytes. Thallophytes were undifferentiated, very primitive kind of plants, we can say. But bryophytes, they have a plant body which is differentiated, but there are no tissues for conduction of water or other substances from one part of the plant body to another part. Okay, so the example is, again you will have to remember the example. The example of this is mosses in Markentia. Okay, so as I said, always remember the example. So what is the difference in bryophytes and thallophytes? I will just revise you quickly. Thallophytes are the basic undifferentiated plants. Okay, hello Shrikant, how are you? So today we are talking about plant classification, and my name is Dr. Pooja, and I'm here to teach you science on Unacademy's platform. I teach science Monday through Saturday every night for 9th class, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. I teach physics, chemistry and biology. Alright, so today is my live class on plant classification, and please stay with me to understand plant classification in a very easy way. What is your question? I didn't see your question, Uday. Please ask me. What's your question? So bryophytes is the next category, but they have differentiated body now, but they don't have vascular tissue, vascular cells. All right. So bryophytes. So there are the couple of yes, Bhavesh. I know it's very easy chapter, but there are many students, for them this chapter is little complicated. Okay, so we are here for all the students, for those students as well who find this chapter very easy, and for those students as well who find this chapter little difficult or complicated. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Music with Sumit. Thank you so much for asking and joining. So here are the examples of bryophytes. All right, so they are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Pteridophytes. So I just remember everyone. Okay, so we have pteridophytes, and as I said, from thallophytes to bryophytes, now to pteridophytes. The only difference will be they will be more differentiated. They will be having vascular bundles now. Okay, so the plant body is differentiated into roots, stems and leaves. Hello Shrikant, hello. Welcome to my class. You already said hello, you're saying it again. Then they have specialized tissue for conduction of water and other substance. So this is important. Like in pteridophytes, we start seeing the vascular bundles, means xylem and phloem. We start seeing them. Some examples are Sumit, the plus student. I remember that even only 3 students were. Oh, okay. I remember you, Sumit, now. I remember you. I know there was some kind of confusion on that day. People thought there is no class, and there was a class, and me, you, and there was one more student present, right? Great, I remember you. So some examples are Marsilia, then we have ferns and horse tails. So these are example of pteridophytes. Pteridophytes, as I said, they are more differentiated into root, stem and leaves, and they do have vascular bundles for the conduction of water and other substances. Okay, and then again remember the example. So here are the example: Marsilia and ferns. Okay, Tyler, yes, I remember now. So now we have this is a very important question, guys. Like, what are cryptogams and what are phanerogams? So you have to remember, like thallo, bryo and pteridophytes, they have naked embryos. Okay, they are called like spores. They don't have well-defined let's say sex organs or sex tissue right in them. So which means all these reproductive organs or tissues, they are very small in thallo, bryo and pterido. So the reproductive organs of plants in all these 3 groups are very inconspicuous, like they're very small, we cannot see them. So that is why they are called cryptogams, or those with, crypto means hidden, with hidden reproductive organs. So always remember this. What are the three different plant categories which fall under cryptogams? So we have thallo, bryo, and pterido. So depending upon the reproductive tissue, whether it's hidden or whether it's well defined, we categorize plants into cryptogams and phanerogams. So cryptogams will have your thallophytes, bryophytes, and pteridophytes, and your phanerogams will have angiosperms and gymnosperms. Okay, here you go. In exam, sometimes you get to differentiate between cryptogams and phanerogams. So this is how we differentiate them. With hidden reproductive tissue is cryptogams. Phanerogams are with well-defined reproductive tissue. I'll show you in a minute like what are we talking about. Okay, in cryptogams spores are formed. In this seeds are formed, and that is what we just said, seed-bearing plants. Okay, so after pteridophytes we have gymnosperms and angiosperms, and they are seed-bearing plants. Embryos don't have stored food. If the embryo is not having stored food, that means there is not fruit production in this case. Then here phanerogams, they have embryos with stored food. Okay, so let's see what are the different phanerogams. So we have gymnosperms. They are gymno, naked, sperms, seed. So they have naked seeds. Even they do not have fruit. Fruit entry will come with angiosperms. Okay, they are the highest in the plant classification. So the naked seeds are there. There's no fruit. They are perennial. They are woody. They are evergreen. And if you see, like when you go to all these, mountains, and you see trees like pine and deodar, so they're all gymnosperms. Okay, cycas and pinus. So you see all those brown cones falling on the roadside. So those are these pine trees and pinus. Okay, so these are gymnosperms. They have all other characteristics. You see, they start looking like the trees. So they have well-defined differentiated body. Okay, they have vascular bundles like xylem and phloem for transportation of water and food. Then they have seed-bearing qualities, like they have seeds. So these were the categories, or these were the points which were different from the initial that we just Uday, I'm not getting your question, but I don't know like what question you asked. If you can just ask me again, I'll be more than happy to answer you. Please go ahead and ask it one more time. What your question is? And then we have angiosperms. That's the highest level of classification. So angio means covered, sperms means seed. They have covered seeds. So covered seeds are there in a fruit. Covered in what? In a wrapping paper or in a gift paper, or how? Covered in a fruit. Okay. The plant embryos, they are protected by cotyledons. We'll see what cotyledons are, and depending upon the cotyledons, what are the different types of plants that we will talk about. Okay. Then cotyledons are called seed sleeves. Okay. That is where the growing embryo receives its food. Then, because now angiosperms, they have cotyledons, so depending upon how many cotyledons they have, we divide them into dicots and monocots. So monocots are like only one cotyledon. Dicots are with two cotyledons. And the examples are mango, sugarcane. Forget about this pine, because when I was creating this presentation, maybe it got copied from the previous line. So pine is a gymnosperm. Pine is not an angiosperm. I'm really sorry about this. Okay. So now how would we differentiate monocots from dicots? So because these are the categories which fall under angiosperms. Now we know angiosperms, what do they have? These are the characteristics: covered seeds, in a fruit, protected by cotyledons. Cotyledons means these are the seeds, leaves. So if there are only one cotyledon present, it's called monocots. If two cotyledons are present, it's called dicots. Okay, so sometimes you get this question in the exams, like how would you differentiate between monocots and dicots? So these are the 5 main characteristics on the basis of which we divide monocots from dicots. So what are these characteristics? First of all, seeds. In monocots, the seeds, they have only single cotyledon. In dicots, di means 2, mono means 1. Dicots, they have di, 2, cots means cotyledons. So dicots have 2 cotyledons. And if you talk about the leaves, you see the leaves in case of monocots, they have parallel veins. Okay, for example, if we check the leaves of sugarcane or corn, what will we see? The parallel veins. Okay, so those parallel veins are present in monocots. And if you check the leaves of mulberry tree, or if you check the leaves of, let's say, what we call mango tree and all those things, you will find the branched veins are present. Okay, and then we have flowers. If we talk about the flowers, just a second. I had to block someone, so, all right? Because people, when they ask silly questions, I need to block them. All right. So, so I would request you only ask me relevant questions related to the subject. So there is no point me blocking you guys or you guys getting blocked by me. Okay, so let's keep the decorum of this class. So we have flowers for monocots. The flowers have the parts in the multiple of 3. Let's say their petals, their sepals, everything will be in the multiple of 3. They will have 3 or 6 or 9. Okay. But dicots, they have multiple of 4 or 5, like 5 petals, 5 sepals, or 10 petals, 10 sepals, something like that. All right. So if you look into the stem, if you do the cross section of the stem in monocots, so you will see the vascular bundles are scattered all over the place. But in dicots, the vascular bundles are very well organized in the form of a ring. If you see, there is a ring. Can you see the ring? So that is in dicots. Then roots, if you see monocots, they have branched fibrous roots like this, right? And dicots, they have taproot. They have a main single root, and from there multiple branches are originating. Okay guys, so this was all about monocots and dicots and all the plants. And here is me again. So people who have just joined or people who don't know me, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Pooja, and I'm a former scientist from United States of America, and now I am back in India, and I teach science to you guys in a very simple, easy, interesting, easy to remember, easy to understand way. Okay, and if you want to get benefit of my teaching, right, on a daily basis, then go ahead and sign up for the batch courses, because the batch courses, we have educators who are teaching you science, English, mathematics, everything. And I not only teach you guys biology, I teach you physics, chemistry, biology, everything, all science topics. All right, so I take classes every single day on Unacademy. Go ahead and sign up and use my code, guys, PS13, and you will get 10% discount on top of that. So how to join? You can go to unacademy.com. Oh, you loved it, Shovan? Thank you so much. So we have a quiz here. So I will be covering the quiz. Okay, so be there to answer all the questions. So go to unacademy.com or download their app. And here are the subscription plans for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. I would strongly recommend you to go ahead and sign up for 12-month subscription. Reason being, that is the most, yes, I remember you, I guess. There are many students, but I try to remember all of you. Okay, but if you can just remind me a little bit, maybe I'll remember you. So go for this 12-month subscription and use my code. Okay, so with this, we have finished our beautiful chapter on classification of plants, and we covered thallo, bryo, trido, gymno, angios, and in angios we have covered dicots and monocots. So thallo, they are not differentiated. Bryo, they are differentiated but they don't have muscular bundles. Pteridophytes are differentiated and have vascular bundles but they don't have seeds. Gymnosperms, they are differentiator, they have vascular bundles, they make seeds, but they don't make fruit. Angiosperms, they are differentiator, they have vascular bundles, they make seeds, the seeds are covered by or protected in a fruit. So this is how we go from one class to next. Now answer this. Which division of plants have simplest organisms? So super easy. Shovan, if you would like to answer this question. Super easy. Is it thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes or gymnosperms? What do you think it is? So question answer round is very important because that tells you like how well you understood the chapter. So if you don't know the answer to this is thallophytes, because as I said, thallophytes are the very basic category. Because yes, Shrikant, you are absolutely right. Thallophytes, okay? And if you want to have competition with your friends online, go ahead and have them to be part of this quiz so that you can have a small competition with all your friends who are there, and we'll see who wins, okay? Anyways, next question. These are called amphibians of plant kingdom. What do you think? What are the amphibians? So amphibians are absolutely right, Shrikant, and absolutely correct, Shovan, but I hope that is the answer for the previous question. Okay, now question number 2. These are called amphibians of plant kingdom. So what do you think? Is it thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes or gymnosperms? All right, so go ahead and answer this question. First of all, remember, what do we mean by amphibians? Amphibians are live in water and on the soil. So in plants, bryophytes, amazing, very well done both of you. So we have bryophytes. Next question. These have well defined vascular bundles. Thallophytes, bryophytes, gymnosperms or none of the above? Tell me. So we have thallophytes, bryophytes, gymnosperms or none of the above. Go ahead and answer this question. The answer to this question is, because thallophytes, they are very primitive, bryophytes, they are little differentiated, but they don't have vascular bundles. So which one of these have vascular bundles? Gymnosperms. Absolutely correct, Shrikant. So now these have protected seeds. So we know that thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes, they don't make seeds. Okay, so gymnosperms and angiosperms, they make seeds. So gymnosperms, they have naked seeds. The seeds are not covered in the fruit. So the only category left is angiosperms. All right. So I would let you answer this question. I will move on to the next question. Here you go. In which of the following plants or categories reproductive organs are hidden? Absolutely correct, Shrikant. You just rock. Awesome. Thank you. So, in which of the following reproductive organs are hidden? Answer this. So, we have cryptogams, phanerogams, angiosperms, and gymnosperms. So, I guess the answer is cryptogams. Okay, because crypto means hidden, gams means reproductive organs. Which of these produce flowers? Mosses, fungi, angiosperms or gymnosperms? That is a tricky question. So it will be mosses and fungus. Absolutely not. Gymnosperms are the ones which are having naked. Very good, Shrikant. You're absolutely right. Perfect. Perfect, Shrikant. Great. So we have, yes, you answered this question. So it is angiosperms. Absolutely. You're right. Absolutely. So now we have which one of these have vascular bundles? So mosses, fungi, ferns, or spirogyra? Answer me. Go ahead and answer this question. Which one of these? Which one of these, guys? So we have are you going to answer? Ferns, they have the muscular bundles. I didn't get the answer from you guys. So now with this, here is a list of very important questions from examination point of view. So you must go over this list, like what are the major difference between gymnosperms and angiosperms, what are cryptogams, what are the mean classification criteria for kingdom plant. Do you remember the initial slide that I used? All those major 5 points, they cover this question. Then what are the differences between monocots and dicots? So you remember that table where I have those 5 different characteristics. Then what are why are biophytes also known as amphibians of a plant kingdom? So you know that because they are at the second level. I mean, they don't have very well defined muscular bundle. Okay, so you are not able to answer it, guys. Anyways, so what are the main differences between thallophytes and pseudophytes? So once you know that flow chart that I showed you in the beginning, then you will be answered to any question. Doesn't matter like how examiner want you to attempt, like what are different classes he'll be comparing. I answered it, Shovan, right? So these are the important questions that you must consider. And with this, today's amazing session of my class ends, and I thank you, all of you, to be present here. And again, this is what I would love to pay attention to. All right. So my name is Dr. Pooja, and I teach science on Unacademy's platform. You can go ahead and use my referral code, which is PS13, guys. Always remember this number, this very important number. All right. Always remember this number, PS13, my code. All right. So use this. And with that said, I end this session today. You have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And thank you so much, Shovan, for liking my session, and all of the students for liking my session. Share it with your friends and like, subscribe, and